10.
While I was sitting outside the terminal, all of a sudden I saw these people start running out. Said somebody shooting. So I started to run too.
Investigators are searching for answers tonight after an Army veteran opens fire inside of the Fort Lauderdale, Florida airport. 5 are dead, 8 more recovering from gunshot wounds, and more than 3 dozen injured in the chaos that followed. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shelton Dotson.
And I'm Patricia Maes. Tonight, we're learning more about the gunman who was unharmed and taken into custody. CBS reporter Craig Boswell explains.
We have a subject with gunshot to the head.
Cell phone video captured the moments after a lone gunman started firing in the baggage claim area of Terminal 2 at Fort Lauderdale's airport Friday afternoon, killing 5 people.
Flying all around us.
Hundreds of panicked passengers ran out of the airport. Others hid inside.
He was not targeting anyone. He was just randomly shooting. He was like walking through the woods, and he was just picking off things like target practice.
Police identified the suspect as 26-year-old Esteban Santiago from Anchorage. He flew from Alaska to Florida. His only luggage was the handgun he checked, which is legal if disclosed to the airline. Police say he loaded the weapon in a bathroom and then opened fire.
There is no security in the baggage claim, unfortunately, and you never know what's going to happen.
Police and witnesses say Santiago fired all of his 3 magazines of ammunition and surrendered when police entered the building.
A law enforcement source tells CBS News Santiago walked into an FBI office in Anchorage in November. He told agents his mind was being controlled by the CIA and claimed he was forced to watch ISIS videos. He was sent to a mental health facility. Santiago served with the Alaska Army National Guard until his discharge in August for unsatisfactory performance. Santiago's aunt told a New Jersey newspaper her nephew lost his mind during his nearly 1-year tour in Iraq in 2010. Federal investigators have found no known links to terrorism. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Fort Lauderdale.
During a press conference late tonight, the FBI announced even though no links have been found to terrorism, that still has not been ruled out quite yet. They've also begun the process of the crime scene, which will then allow them to formally identify the victims.
Since 9/11, airports have seen a dramatic increase in security, but many parts of the terminals, like check-in and baggage claim, are outside the secured area. A former federal agent says securing areas like these in every airport would be a multi-billion-dollar investment.
We have to put it in that broader perspective. You're more likely to die in a car accident on your way home than to be in a terrorist strike at a U.S. airport.
In the hours after the Fort Lauderdale shooting, airports across the country went on high alert. The 3 New York airports deployed armored vehicles and canine teams looking for explosives. Meantime, closer to home, travelers at El Paso International Airport were on edge tonight. CBS 410's Ashley Cullinane shows us how El Pasoans are handling the tragedy.
Some major airports are quiet tonight, much like El Paso International Airport. And some passengers here tell me they can't imagine the horror that unfolded in a place just like this, the baggage claim.
The buzzing of the carousel, a sound of relief for many travelers here at El Paso International Airport.
We were just rushing everywhere.
But the baggage claim was a different scene today, 2,000 miles away.
For already to have something like this happen is, like I tell you, it's pretty sad.
I feel like our country is already in a state of panic, and it's just kind of slowly but surely getting worse, in my opinion, and it's kind of hard to feel safe anymore.
Jaslyn Kelly is from Los Angeles. She says she's familiar with busy airports where people are just trying to get somewhere smoothly.
Just trying to keep up, you're just trying to get to your flight. So first I want to be, shooting at you or something like that. It seems like that would be the last thing you really be worried about.
Now El Pasoans are left wondering how this could happen.
You don't know who's walking in through these doors.
Federal guidelines allow passengers to check an unloaded gun in a locked case. Ammunition is also allowed in checked baggage. Some El Pasoans say they knew this, but are concerned about manpower at EPIA.
I mean, if there's shootings going on, why was there only 2 cops walking around? I figured, that's what I thought. I said, walking into the airport, I thought there'd be more security.
Travelers say despite the distance, this tragedy on the East Coast still hit too close to home at the start of the new year.
It's just really sad that people are doing that, especially in an airport where people are just getting home from the holidays. They want to see their friends or their family.
Quite devastating, knowing that we were on our way to the airport ourselves today,
The passengers tell me they received calls from loved ones right after stepping off the plane. In East El Paso, Ashley Cullinane, CBS 4 at 10.
El Paso police release a new photograph of the city's first murder victim of the year. That while Crime Stoppers announces a new reward for the tip that finally cracks the case. 51-year-old Dawn Denise Weatherly was found dead Monday inside of her West El Paso apartment. Friends went to check on her after not hearing from her for a few days. Homicide detectives say she was murdered, but they are not saying how. CBS4 spoke with Weatherly's ex-husband, who told us she once worked as a nurse before retiring with a disability. Police say she was last seen alive on New Year's Eve. If you have information in this case, call Crime Stoppers of El Paso.
A chilly night with temperatures falling into the 20s for the borderland. For the latest, we turn to meteorologist Zach Hobie, who's in the CBS4 Warren Weather Center.
Patty, if you loved the warmth, it'll be back, but we have to get through some cooler nights. Let's go ahead and show you what's going on outdoors, because sub-freezing temperatures, below 32 degrees out there in Las Cruces, 32 at Scottish Rye, 33 at the Complete Emergency Care Center. So Burr is basically what I have to say, Burr, because you can see the purple. Those are teens. They are knocking on our doorstep. We won't be talking about teens, but we will be talking about the winds coming down, some very dry conditions for us, but no blizzard conditions, as you can see out east. I'm going to break down why we aren't going to be seeing what California is also getting this weekend coming up.
A local science teacher is in jail tonight accused of having an improper relationship with one of his students. El Paso County Sheriff's deputies arrested Kenneth Evans at his Far East El Paso home today. The 31-year-old worked for the past 2 years at Fabens High School. The district superintendent there tells CBS4 Evans is now on paid leave. His bond has been set at $500,000.
And you tonight, yet another sex offender is now on the run after fleeing from a halfway house in Horizon City. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is looking for 50-year-old Howard Hughes. Deputies say Hughes' last location was at the intersection of Montana and Magruder, where he cut off his ankle monitor. Hughes is currently on parole for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And a Las Cruces man pleads guilty to throwing a Molotov cocktail at his neighbors. Manny Chavez pled guilty today. There you see him. He'll now serve an 18-month prison sentence. Chavez was arrested by Las Cruces police last June. He had been arguing with his neighbors, and that's when he threw the Molotov cocktail at their cars as they drove by.
Hundreds of soldiers from the 1st Brigade Combat Team at Fort Bliss are one step closer to deployment tonight. Earlier today, about 1,500 men and women cased their colors on post. That is an Army tradition which signifies their assignment at their current location is done. But the colors won't stay wrapped up for too long.
When we get to Afghanistan, sometime shortly thereafter, when they get to their final locations in Afghanistan, the sergeants majors and the commanders will once again unfurl their colors, signifying that the unit is now at its new place, serving the nation. As
CBS4 has reported, the soldiers have gone through 3 extensive training sessions to get ready for this deployment. That includes this live fire exercise last year out at Fort Bliss. The 1st Brigade Combat Team will be training Afghani forces during their 9-month-long deployment. Several El Paso schools have now failed a statewide evaluation. The TEA released a letter grade for each school in the state. The assessment is a test run right now for what will become the state's new evaluation system.
It works similar to, you say you have a student who has taken 5 classes and they get a grade in each class, and then those are combined to give an overall GPA.
Next year, the A through F system will replace what's currently in place. Right now, schools are judged only on if they pass or fail.
90 EPISD schools were evaluated by the TEA, and 23 schools failed at least one of the 4 categories. Schools like Bowie, Irvin, and Austin High School got Fs in at least one of the 4 categories. But a member of the school board says that the letter grade system isn't compatible with today's education.
Like the idea behind the A through F grading system really hasn't been beneficial to students. We have teachers and students solely focused on, preparing for the test rather than preparing for college and for life.
The school board passed a resolution in December asking the Texas legislature to repeal the accountability system. It wants the legislature to develop a new system to reduce the emphasis on standardized tests. Meantime, State Rep Mary Gonzalez says the new evaluation system is flawed. In a statement, she says, in part, quote, "There's a dangerous domino effect here. The failing label causes stigmatization and punitive action to schools and their community, which does nothing to promote improvement.
New Mexico Governor and El Paso native Susana Martinez is putting differences aside and heading to Washington for the presidential inauguration. Martinez remained critical of President-elect Donald Trump during the campaign. In fact, she refused to endorse him. She often denounced Trump's remarks about Mexican immigrants and the lewd comments he made about women during the now infamous Access Hollywood tapes. Trump also took a shot at Martinez during a campaign rally in Albuquerque last May, which she did not attend. At the time, Trump said Martinez was doing a poor job of handling that state's economy.
Protests and riots, why people in Mexico are taking to the streets, and how the president of the country is responding.
We're taking a trip down memory lane tonight. The former local basketball player who was honored at Burgess High School.
We will build the wall 100%.
Taking a U-turn, just who President-elect Donald Trump says will now have to pay to build a wall along the U.S.-New Mexico border. That's next on CBS4 at 10.